Hi there. It's February the 25th, and we're in Torah still, and we're looking at Leviticus. And in Leviticus 17 and 18 particularly, we're homing in on rules for sacrifice and also on rules of propinquity, it's known as, rules of who you may and may not marry in a family. It's interesting looking at Leviticus 18 that most of those rules of propinquity are still in existence today and are used by general registrars in the United Kingdom for forbidden relationships that you're not allowed to have. So, for instance, you're not allowed to marry a sister or a brother or an aunt or an uncle. But it's interesting that that was laid down, first of all, by God way back there in Leviticus. But coming back to Leviticus 17, God is very insistent that the sacrifices that are brought by the people to the holy place. People are not just to go willy-nilly making their own sacrifices where they want to, and particularly they're not allowed to make them with any reference to other gods apart from God himself. And it also says in this chapter that when people bring a sacrifice, God will receive that as a covering for their sin. Now it's interesting that in the older versions of the English, the word kafar, the Hebrew word meaning to cover, is sometimes translated as atonement. And that word atonement comes from an Old English word at one meant, making one. But the truth is that those sacrifices of covering don't actually atone, because there is still something to be done. And actually it's done in Messiah Jesus when he comes later on the cross. He makes the full atonement. He makes us fully at one with God. So we no longer have to make sacrifices of animals for our sin because Jesus has made us one with God. He is the true place of at-one-ment atonement. Have a good February the 25th.